And now this.
And now this.
Yeah, also another very interesting article I brought this time about Twitter and Elon Musk. And the interesting case here is that Elon Musk, in his endeavor to save money wherever possible, is, as I already think I brought a few weeks ago already, and we discussed it also at length several times, is cutting bills wherever possible. The mantra here, his right hand currently is telling that to every Twitter employee, the mantra is everything is negotiable. Which might be true when we look at this case, but it really depends on who you are negotiating with, and it really depends on how big the other person, the other player is, because Elon currently is in fight with Amazon and was with Google, but realized that Google might be a fish too big for him. So what happened? Twitter has an AWS deal where they actually wanted to transfer their Twitter timeline on. They didn't do that, so they ended up using much less AWS space than anticipated. Now, AWS deals are very specific in the way they are constructed, but basically Twitter committed to an amount of money they have to spend in an amount of time. In the end, this is not completely the reality. There also is a quota on how much you use and that you pay. But all in all, the message is Twitter did not pay its Amazon bill for AWS. This is now being taken that far that actually Amazon is threatening Twitter not to pay their advertising bill, which would be a much bigger loss for Twitter than for Amazon, because Amazon is making, I think, roughly around 500 million with Twitter over a period of time. Advertising alone per year, I think, is 1 billion on Twitter. The same game Elon Musk tried to play with Google, but because Google is such a big player for Twitter in advertising, in data, because Google also pays Twitter for its data so that tweets are findable via Google search, it is much more delicate to negotiate with them. And now a Twitter insider, ex-Twitter insider, stepped forward and actually told the information that Elon Musk also tried to renegotiate with Google, but Google simply declined renegotiating a deal they had, more or less knowing that there is no way around Google for Twitter. However, it just shows how they are cutting corners everywhere. And the question is, everything is negotiable, yes, but are there maybe just players or fields you cannot play? I don't know. Maybe they are too big. Let me just look if I forgot anything. I wrote down. No, this is the core of it. So they're actually also playing with the big boys and trying to cut costs there, but Google, looks like Google is the line. Google is too big for Twitter to mess with them, but Amazon might be.
It's so scary to see how people on this scale are playing this game of, let's see what happens if we don't pay our bill. I mean, I don't know. It sounds so Elon Musk. Everything is negotiable. Sure. I mean, maybe he will win. But as you said, if I mean, it sounds so short-sighted. If AWS, if Amazon actually has, no, Google, you said Google, but the advertising, they have such a bigger leverage. What are they thinking?
No, so I think the bet here is that both of them are not only providers and advertisers, both of them are cloud providers. So yeah. I think what Elon Musk currently is thinking about is that, well, the services we are using on AWS are so small that potentially we could transfer everything to Google, so we can mess this up because AWS knows we might lose them as a customer. Also, AWS, now going into the details, is usually open for renegotiation because most of the AWS deals are constructed in this specific way. So you have a more or less committed on amount of money you want to spend on a specific time frame. This, however, is more bound by something like LOI by and not bound by a contract, because the core contract is committing you to pay, obviously, what you are using based on a certain amount of money and time frame. Again, however, in the end, you try to, it's more of a, okay, we are expecting you to pay that much, so we're giving you specific conditions. In the past, Amazon showed, or AWS showed, that they are open to renegotiate those terms, but they did not renegotiate with Twitter and Musk yet. Why? The answer for that might be, and it is, I think it is, that AWS knows exactly that technically what Twitter is using of their services is something that they could also find at, say, Google or even Microsoft, or Oracle, but forget about them in the cloud game. They're that small. However, so they're not really incentivized to actually negotiate with Twitter in that term. However, they have a much bigger stick on their own, which is that they're advertising a lot on Twitter. So I think right now the time of, in Germany would say Zuckerbrot und Peitsche, the time between incentivizing and enforcing is right now, the clock is ticking more in the direction of enforcing, because the upside of winning Twitter as a client is not as big as just threatening in actual commitments they have made in the past. For Google, it's different. I'm sorry, it's a very long monologue, but I really get heated up when I really got heated up, and I am still when I read this and talk about it. For Google, it's different, right? Google is such a big player for Twitter that Google knows exactly that Musk and Twitter cannot mess around with their relationship, which therefore puts them into the position when Elon Musk knocked at the door of Google's asking for a negotiation, just decline, because they know exactly they have a contract. There's no way of getting out of it, because they know damn well how much Twitter is actually using the services of Google, and the other way around. They know that this is a relationship that is provable a contract, and therefore they know exactly that there's no need for Twitter to renegotiate, or for Google against Twitter. And the same problem Musk has, because he realized, and I think he knew before, he just tried it just for fun, or not just for fun, but for a chance, if you want to call it that. Musk knows this damn well, which is why he did not mess any further with the relationship that he had with Google. And we'll see where it goes. But I think that right now it's still working out when we think about, for example, the rent thing that we discussed a few weeks ago, where Elon Musk is not paying rent, but the companies owning the buildings cannot face a lawsuit that goes that long, so they renegotiate the rent. And I think right now it's working out. I'm really curious to see where it goes. I think that latest when Musk knocks on the door of Apple to renegotiate potentially traffic and financiation that comes via iOS. Twitter is an iOS app, as we all know. I think latest there he will step on toes that are just too big, and we'll see where it goes.
Right.
Have you guys heard, just as a side note, but it perfectly fits to that also Slack was down at Twitter? Because I'm not sure if it was because also they delayed paying and stuff, or if I just dreamed that now that this is about paying bills or not paying bills. But just if you guys have heard something.
I heard of that. I am not sure if this is connected with the paying. However, for example, Salesforce is also one of the parties on the list that have not been paid by Twitter according to their agreement. And Slack and Salesforce are one. So I saw the article. I didn't read it yet. Now I should have. But it happened today, I think, in the morning.
Yeah, once again, I ask myself if this is a brilliant businessman or if Elon Musk is still in the process of running Twitter into the ground.